si tu vas pas travailler. Yeah? Good. I've used that today. Great. What does that mean? Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? You can use a qu'est-ce que with that one. Or ça veut dire quoi? Because let's be very serious, and I should have perhaps mentioned this earlier, but quoi is a very acceptable interrogative form of the word what if your word what is coming at the end of the sentence. You do what? Tu fais quoi? Now you can also say qu'est-ce que tu fais? You can also say que fais-tu? Yeah, that both of those are acceptable, or tu fais quoi? So it's a very relaxed, slangy form of what that is actually very common in spoken French. If I'm in a bar with, let's buy Stuart and Al a drink, because I haven't taught either of them in a while. Yeah, so let's just say, what are you drinking? Tu prends quoi? Yeah, tu prends quoi? Tu prends quoi? Good. Lovely. So that quoi, very common. What do you want to do? Tu veux faire quoi? Versus qu'est-ce que tu veux faire? Let's carry on. The teacher was talking to the Soviet Union, to which one people oh, okay, right. So ce à quoi? So gosh, I need my eyes tested. So we are familiar with, or you will be if you watch the video that will be attached underneath, ce qui and ce que as being our main ways of using what when you have a non-question. So for example, I like what Luke is saying. J'aime ce que QUOI Luke dit. You can start a sentence. What Luke is saying is interesting. Ce que Luke dit est intéressant. Or ce qui, another what when it's not a question, this time followed by a verb. So what is happening in Australia is tragic and please donate generously. You know, ce qui se passe en Australie. What happens to me, you know, ce qui m'arrive. So there are actually other cousins of ce qui and ce que. So for example, as I said earlier, if you have ce que, you can only follow it with a verb which is direct. I like what Luke is saying because Luke is saying something. Luke dit quelque chose. I like what Luke is wearing because Luke is wearing something. If it's I've bought what you need, or I know what you're thinking of, in these expressions, tu as besoin de or tu penses à. So for example, you couldn't say I've bought what you need, j'ai acheté ce que tu as besoin de. And you can't use dans because, as I've said earlier, dans is when the thing and the person is still separate. So for example, Luke needs the cell phone, the mobile. Luc a besoin de le portable, which would become Luc a besoin du portable, or the cell phone, the mobile phone, le portable dont Luc a besoin. So the dont there is not the cell phone, the mobile phone. It's separate. If I said I know what Luc needs, je sais ce dont Luc a besoin. So that is playing with de, but that's just to illustrate the point to you that you sometimes need a preposition with a ce before it as well. So you're kind of making a hybrid of ce que and dont. So that's just to prep your mind for our ce à quoi. Yeah? So if I went to Lingui and I brought up a load of examples. So we are working on something. What is it? Where are we? Right, let's do a better example. So, s'engager à quelque chose. So, for example, he. So to commit to something, s'engager à. S'engager à. and it's what he's committing to, c'est ce à quoi il s'engage. So in other words, it's what followed by a verb which uses a, but this time not in a question form. So, you could go, but hang on, Luke, we've talked about the letter I. Let's stick to il s'engage à, so s'engager à. No, let's do one that you've possibly done a little bit more. S'intéresser, okay? S'intéresser, so s'intéresser à quelque chose, to be interested in something. So we've done it with a quoi. Tu t'intéresses à quoi? Il s'intéresse à quoi? Fine. Because that's the question form. If you said the subject, la matière, he's interested in, la matière à laquelle il s'intéresse. So there you've got a relative pronoun because it's the subject to which he interests himself, because that's how you say it, la matière à laquelle il s'intéresse. A bit of a heavy way, but you could say it. He's interested in it, we're getting rid of the subject, we're reducing it to a pronoun. Il s'y intéresse. All of these exist in French, all of these need to be here. But if you're saying the word what to refer to the thing, so you know what interests him, then you could, not in a question, that would be il s'intéresse à quoi? Then that would be, the subject, no, not the subject, so the subject he's interested in, because you've said the noun subject, would be la matière à laquelle il s'intéresse. But it would be, I know what he's interested in. You can't say, je sais ce que il s'intéresse à. Ooh, we'd be stuck with an à on the end. So, je sais ce à quoi il s'intéresse. Yeah? Or go another way round, and use a verb which doesn't need that. So, I know what interests you, je sais ce qui t'intéresse. I know what interests you, je sais ce qui t'intéresse, because now the subject is doing the interesting. You can do that with interest. With interest, you can say, je suis intéressé, I'm interested in, by, whatever. Ça m'intéresse, that interests me. I find that interesting, je le trouve intéressant. I have an interest for, although that's a little bit, archaic. J'ai un intérêt, less common. So yeah. So in other words, we're saying that we are going to use ce à quoi when we are using the word what, not in a question, not in a question. When the ce à quoi is referring to the whole thing. It's not the subject to which he's interested. La matière à laquelle. No. The subject isn't there. It's just I know what he's interested in. I know what this thing is. I know what he's signed up to. Je sais ce à quoi il s'est inscrit. Yeah, it's when you're using the word what. And there are other ce à quoi, the ce dont, as I've said, ce en quoi, and that will be in the video. So that's a very important one, ce à quoi, but I will leave the video for it underneath and I'll come back to where we are. So de quoi? We brought de quoi in already. Have you got, have you got what you need? You can use de quoi as another form of pardon. De quoi? Like, what are you talking about? So it's kind of like saying of what. So you're talking about something. Tu parles de quoi? De quoi? That in itself is kind of an abridged form, but I personally don't use that often. I just say quoi. Lovely. De quoi il en retourne is just another example of using quoi after a preposition in a sentence and base it on the original. Now, if this is the first time you're coming across some of these expressions in the original, great. You'd be better off learning the original. So, for example, somebody once said, what de quoi s'agit-il? And I was like, do you know il s'agit de? And they were like, no. And I was like, well, there you go then. And I should probably stop saying like, because I'm not a valley girl. So if I said it's about, il s'agit de, so Harry Potter, it's about a kid who discovers he has magical powers, whatever. Harry Potter, il s'agit d'un garçon qui découvre qu'il a les pouvoirs magiques. Okay? Il a des pouvoirs magiques. So if I said, what's it about? So the expression, il s'agit de, is an expression which uses the preposition or a preposition, and we're now going to be asking a question with a preposition. What do we use? We use quoi? Il s'agit de quoi? Yeah, or de quoi s'agit-il? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can't say qu'est-ce qu'il s'agit de. You can't. Okay. So there, what business is it of his? De quoi il se mêle? Because se mêle de quelque chose. Fine. It's all of those expressions are great. They're not individually that important. They're not individually that common, if I'm honest. Se mêler, fine, yeah. You know, je m'y mêle. I'm, you know, no, je me mêle de quelque chose and all this business. I'm getting mixed up in something. But basically, it's not that those versions there in that little section are oh so popular. It's just demonstrating that de quoi is what you will use in a question when you've got to keep a de going. Dire n'importe quoi. In what can I help you? So, je peux vous aider en faire quelque chose. Can I help you to do something? So that's just a use of en. So, en quoi puis-je vous aider? Because you are using a question and you are using a preposition. You will keep the preposition and you will use quoi. En also exists in a ce à quoi, ce en quoi. You know, so what I'm helping her with. Ce en quoi j'aide, you know. Good. En quoi puis-je vous être utile? Very. What can I help you with again? En quoi puis-je vous être utile? Very. If you're going to have a customer services job, by all means go with that. After which, ensuite de quoi? Again, like a after which, après quoi rather than après lequel. Very gorgeous, lovely, you know, in exam work, but not to be used that excessively. Ensuite de quoi? So I introduced her to my other guests, after which I left them. You know, I left them with her. I left them with Martine, sorry. So je l'ai présenté aux autres invités, ensuite de quoi je l'ai laissé avec Martine. So you can't say ensuite duquel, or ensuite de laquelle, or ensuite desquels, because the after that, after which, after is referring to a general action. It's not referring to a noun. As I said earlier, you can use preposition plus lequel, laquelle, lesquels if you are referring to a specific noun. The party. So I had a fantastic conversation with Luke, after which we went and got shit-faced drunk. So, in other words, a conversation, j'ai eu une conversation fantastique avec Luc, that is referring to the conversation, one noun. Après laquelle, after which, because of a feminine conversation. If it was like, you know, Luke and I went and got drunk, Luc et moi on s'est saoulé, after which, then that which is referring to the general sentence action of getting drunk. There's no obvious noun there. If it was we drank a bottle of wine, after which we drank a bottle of tequila, after which would be après lequel, sorry, après laquelle, because it'd be on a bu une bouteille de vin, there is a noun present, après laquelle, now, I suppose in a roundabout way, if I'm honest, you could still say après quoi if you were referring to the action of drinking the wine as opposed to the bottle. You could do that even though you've mentioned a specific noun, which would say after the whole thing, okay? In fact, you definitely can do that. Good, so ensuite de quoi is just a fancy-ass version of après quoi. God knows what, Dieu sait quoi. Again, we've got the word what that stands on its own, which represents something. What else can it be? What else can it be? Which one of our other quoi words, what words could it be? Anything else? Et puis quoi encore? What else? I don't know if it's going to come up. Quoi d'autre? Quoi d'autre? What else? QUOI, like a what word? D apostrophe. Quoi d'autre? What else? Very common. Y a pas de quoi. There's nothing to it. You know, nothing. Relax. Oh, thank you so much, Luke. You've really, really helped me. Enfin, y a pas de quoi. There's nothing. Okay. Good. Now that could be y a pas de quoi finish, or it could be y a pas de quoi into a verb. You know, there's nothing to whatever to do with. Faute de quoi? Yeah, used, but not that commonly for my liking. All of them, y a largement de quoi faire. These are just repeating the concept of de quoi as like an entity, a thing, you know, what you would need to do the job if I was making my cake. Ah, this one we've all probably heard of. un certain je ne sais quoi.